Hi, everybody. My name is Katie, and I am the Notary Relations Director for BlueNotary. And today, what I wanted to go over is how to research if you are a person that has just heard about remote online notarization. You'll hear that that could be a very good avenue for you to create a career, or you just want to make some extra income for your family and you want to do some research to find out what goes into becoming a RON. So the first thing, the resource that I would suggest is to go on to your Secretary of State's website, and there it will tell you, one, if it's available in your state or not, and two, the steps that you would have to go through in order to become a remote online notary. In most states, you would have to be a U.S. citizen over 18. There's a couple other things that go into it, but your state knows. So you would just want to look that up, make sure that you qualify, and then usually you would have to already be a remote online. You would already have to be a normal notary. So an in-person notary that's commissioned through the state. Then you would have to go through the extra steps for the most part. I know that there's a couple states that don't require training. I know that there's a couple states that don't require anything as far as like a test. So just look into that, and then the price, obviously. So the other thing to consider is the price of, well, obviously the training, and then the bond, and then the E&O insurance, because most states require you to have a certain amount. And then if you are going on to the platforms, sometimes it could be a good idea just to cover your own self. We can go in about errors and omissions insurance and bonds, probably in a different video, but it is a resource out there. There's a ton of information about both of those things. The other thing that I would go into if I was just researching and deciding if I wanted to go into this profession or not is the ramifications if you mess up. So if you are going through all of your training, you will see the things that could happen, but some of the things that could happen include jail. So you want to make sure that you are following all of the guidelines and you make sure that you know what you are doing when you are doing these notarizations, because I think some of the misconception out there is that it's just stamping things and just going along with your day, but there are steps that we do have to take. We are providing a public service to the general public to prevent fraud and to make sure that everything is legal. So what we do is important with important ramifications for both us and the signers and just a multitude of different things. So you want to just really make sure that that is something that you are okay with when you're going into this profession. That's something that is most likely going to be in the back of your mind when you are doing these notarizations. So that is something to consider. The other thing that I would really suggest is read the legislature of your state. So it basically gives you an outline of a step-by-step of your role, the things that you would need to do, the questions that you have to ask, any training. So it goes over everything. So that is our ultimate resource, is the state law. You want to make sure that you're following that. So it kind of outlines everything, and then you can kind of see if this is the career for you or not. I think that that would be a good resource. I mean, everybody should be looking over the state legislature and the laws and just any of the amendments, things that go into what we do. The second step that you want to kind of research is the amount of marketing that goes into becoming a remote online notary. So I think a misconception that might be out there again is that there is a way to kind of get fed jobs through some of the different avenues. And yes, you can sign up for different ways that offer you leads. But if you want to have a career, if you want to have a steady income, if you want to be able to kind of rely on your client base, you are going to have to market in some way or another to be able to get that client base and get that income. I haven't found a way around it. Everyone else that I know has not found a way around marketing, whether that be, posting on Facebook, going door to door, figuring out emails. When you're first starting out, and this is just a random pro tip, like just from me to you, I wouldn't necessarily pay for ads like if you do like Facebook or Google or anything until you really know marketing. So I don't usually touch that because I spent some money on marketing and it didn't really go anywhere. And then I know other stories of people that have done that in marketing. So if you're very, very good at that, more power to you, because it's very complicated and I think I wasted a lot of money. But anyway, you're going to have to market in some way or another. You'll find your strengths, whether it be networking or going to conferences or just, finding where you can dial down and just kind of dig in and have that be your specialty, or just, you are going to have to market. That is a part of our job. It's not a part that's super talked about when you first are starting out, but you'll come to find out that it's very, very needed. So the other thing to research is the different, and now I can never say this word correctly, niche or niche. Anyway, so you will have to find that. You can either go the loan signing route, which is what is usually something that is emphasized as very lucrative, which it can be, but there is the downside of the possibility that it's inundated and the housing market isn't always the best. So the other avenue that you can do is general notary work. So that basically is everything else, but you can really dial it down and look into the different untapped markets. I do new videos about them as much as I can, but then there are a ton of different avenues that you can go into, like car dealerships, litigation, all of these different kinds of things. And then you can also use your commission to basically build different avenues of revenue through, apostille work, or some of the other ones are permits. If you wanted to get specifically into foreign nationals or like people that are getting visas, solar, there's just a ton of different avenues that you can go into for general notary work that might not be as complicated as the loan signings. So that's just something to think about when you are looking into and researching. I really, really advocate for digging down into the notary world. It's huge. It's way bigger than what I would have ever thought. There's so much to discover and learn about. And there's a ton of different groups that you can join on Facebook or just Instagram, there, TikTok. There's tons of resources out there. It's just kind of figuring out and finding them. We do have our Facebook page. You can always check us out there. We post different tips and tricks and tutorials and everything like that, articles, different meetups and webinars. So I really advocate to kind of get your feet wet and just make sure that this is something that you are investing your time in wisely, and that is something that you are going to be able to sustain. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and follow us for more tips and tutorials. Thank you.